Under the theme Global Justice and Africa's G20 Priorities, the International Symposium on Global Justice and Solidarity currently underway in Cape Town aims to deepen reflection and advocacy around global justice, solidarity and the Church's role in shaping inclusive economic and social policies. The chairperson of the Southern African Catholic Bishops' Conference Social Action Department, Bishop Thulani Mbuyisa, joins us now virtually for more. Bishop, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the late edition.
Good evening to you, and thank you for having me here.
It's an absolute pleasure, Bishop. Now, first of all, this symposium brings together, voices from across the globe. What do you see as the central purpose of this gathering, and why now, in this moment in history?
Well, why now? It is because South Africa has the chairmanship of the G20. We know that the summit will take place at the end of this year here in South Africa. Hence the need to have this symposium to gather the voices from wide spectrum of various groups, the faith communities, civil society, academics, and so forth. Yeah. And as we're gathering here in Cape Town for the last 2 days, we wanted to look at what are the most pressing needs for us as people here in Africa. And this, of course, takes place during the Jubilee Year of Hope, which was declared by Pope Francis.
Right.
And we know that the concept of Jubilee is actually a biblical concept from Leviticus chapter 25. So anyway, as we gathered here, we wanted to address the issue of debt, knowing that the countries of the global south are suffering under this heavy weight of debt that we owe to various institutions. We also wanted to address the issue of meals for school-going children, who most of them, because of poverty, cannot afford to have a meal, not even a single meal in their households. And then thirdly, we also wanted to address the issue of climate change. So these were the three major issues that we've been discussing for the last 2 days.
Now, Bishop, global justice and solidarity are broad concepts, put bluntly. Now, in the Church's language and practice, how do these terms translate into lived realities for ordinary people, especially the marginalized?
Well, yes. These may seem like theories, but then in practice, we always try as church, because of our social teachings as a Catholic Church, to actually translate these into practical and relating them to practical and lived experiences. The basic question that we always ask ourselves as Christians, as Catholics, is what would Jesus do? How would Jesus respond to this particular situation? So that is why then the Church has various programs to address social ills, or injustice involved in advocacy work. That is why the Church is involved in education, in healthcare, and so forth, as well as in relief efforts through the various agencies that it has. So for us, it's not just concepts or philosophical concepts, but these are very real ways of responding to lived experiences.
Now, the question that you just asked, what would Jesus do in this particular instance, I suppose is tied to, the Catholic Church's emphasis on the dignity of the human person and the preferential option of the poor. So how is the Church then positioning itself in the global economic debates to ensure that justice and ethics are not sidelined by profit and power?
If you recall some of the statements that were made by our late Pope Francis, but also as well as our present Pope, Pope Leo XIV, who actually takes his name from Pope Leo XIII, who's the person actually that we view as central and inspirational when it comes to the Church's social teachings, is that the dignity of the human person must be at the very center. Because remember that our belief is that we are created in the image and likeness of God. And therefore, everything else that we have in the world must serve, must never be above the dignity of the human person. So that even when there are profits, even when one does business, but these must always respect, the fact that the human person is at the very center of creation. So that's why, therefore, the popes and also our social teaching as a church always critique those tendencies that we often see of putting profit before people, of elevating, profits above human dignity.
All right. Bishop Mbuyisa, lovely chatting to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. God bless you.
All right, indeed. Thank you. Well, that was the chairperson of the Southern African Catholic Bishops' Conference Social Action Department, Bishop Thulani Mbuyisa, joining us virtually to talk about the International Symposium on Global Justice and Solidarity currently underway in Cape Town.